The DJI Mavic Mini has been a very popular and well-selling drone since its introduction in November 2019. We took a deep dive into the reasons behind this. Got that coming up. Hey everyone, Bill from BillTheDroneReviewer, where I make drone and drone related videos. If you're new here, welcome, and consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by co-host Marcus Crawford, Ron Braun, and Lauren Donauer. We spent the better part of the evening discussing the DJI Mavic Mini. We took a deep dive into the reasons why it has been a very well-selling and popular drone since November of 2019. We also listed some of the things we would like to see on the DJI Mavic Mini going forward. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. The next subject that we're going to be talking about is, okay, I entitled it, "The Mavic Mini is Still Hot." And I think this is one thing I think we kind of, all four of us are in agreement, you know, it's still one of these drones that even though it was introduced back in November, it's still, you know, I know, for instance, at the local Best Buy, you know, you have to order it. Lauren, how are sales for the Mini?
We're backed up 75 orders right now.
Wow.
That's great.
Because of the virus? Production
Yeah,
down a little.
other circumstances that I can't quite talk about, but yeah, like today we had 10 orders, for example, for the Mini. You know, it's slowing down, but not really that much. Not
Okay.
really that much.
What I want to do is this, okay? You know, we all know probably, and I think all of us would agree, probably the number one selling point on it is 249 grams, okay? Now, I want to go around to talk to all of us to see, list a couple of other points why it's doing so well. Whoever wants to go first, jump right in.
Well, so we can just go clockwise. How's that?
Yeah, you go, absolutely.
Obviously the 249 grams with regulations that are upcoming, although it's probably going to be years before we see them. More important in Canada right now, probably, than it is here. But the main attraction of that drone for me is that you've got a good long flight time with it. You're easily up in the air for 25 minutes with that drone, with that lithium-ion battery. And the next thing is that compact size. It's just so easy to take that drone with you. So that, and I'm gonna make 4 points here. I just put them together in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing is the stability and precision of that drone. You know, we joke around about the Zino 2 or something. I mean, that Mavic Mini is in just a whole nother category. It is solid as a rock. It even in wind, so you can get it in the wind and you'll see it moving around. Now, if it's a strong enough wind, it can blow it away. But I'm saying if it's in a wind that it can cope with, it still holds its position. The other thing is the handling of it. Finally, the last point I want to make is a camera on that drone that punches way above its weight class. It's a 2.7K camera. The fidelity on that camera is just so impressive. Ron.
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, I'm gonna echo what Tony Fast said in the chat here. I mean, when I purchased the Mavic Mini, the 249 grams, you know, didn't mean much to me at all. Whatever. I mean, way down the list or whatever. Just because I mean, we didn't have that law yet, and even here it's proposed it won't be here for 3 years, and I'll have the Mavic Mini 2 by then, anyways. So it didn't mean anything to me, but size did matter. Size does matter, and the fact that it was so small, but still had that image quality, and had that flight ability. I mean, it basically, as far as precision flying, it flies almost like its bigger brother Mavics. in that small compact form. And yes, it didn't have the 4K. Everybody wanted 4K or whatever. But as Marcus alluded to, the video of that thing is still terrific, especially at the price point. I talked about the Zino 2 being a tale of two cities with the camera. The Zino 2 camera is better if you're facing away from the sun, but the Zino, the little Mavic Mini is definitely a better drone when it's facing the sun. Its camera handles bright exposure to the sun much better than the Zino 2 does. So, and it takes a great picture also. The JPEGs are solid out of it too. More than solid, really good. So for me, it was camera, but size, and not only size. The Spark was small too, but Spark also had that 12 minutes of flight time, where this Mavic Mini, it has a flight time you get from your bigger drone. So that's one of the more important things, to me as well. So the kind of, wrap it up. It's just the type of it's so small, you could take it any place with you, even if you're taking a light bag, a light pouch, or whatever. It can get a quality image. So what do you think, Lauren? Are you a Mavic Mini owner, and are you a happy Mavic Mini owner?
Oh, absolutely. Like we've done some commercial work using the Mavic Mini because it absolutely punches out of its weight class when it comes to doing things like night video with very minimal amount of lighting. It is just amazing how much quality you get right out of the drone. No post-processing or anything like that. And Bill, if you share my screen for a second.
Sure thing.
Okay. On this weekend, I was teaching a class, and Ron, you were talking about shooting into the sun. This shot was done with a Mavic Mini, and as you can see, the sun is a really big part of that. Mm-hmm. It was actually what I call a forced HDR shot. But as you can see, like the sun didn't totally blow out the whole picture. Mm-hmm. And, that's one of the amazing things with it. And I'm actually going to go to the next one here because, again, we're facing the sun. And this is a shot that I did. And as you can see, again, doing a forced HDR shot, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that picture.
There's something wrong with the ground, though, there, Lauren. There's a bunch of white stuff on it.
Yeah. Well, I think the clouds got dandruff or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I believe it was spring last weekend too, right?
Well, it was. It's like I always say. I sure hope that when summer rolls around this year, it falls on a weekend.
There you go.
And thanks for sharing that, Lauren. That's fantastic.
Great photos, Lauren.
Those are fantastic. And that's one of the things. I'm gonna. I'll take my turn here. One of the things that camera or the drone is underrated for is still pictures. So many times, and all of us would agree. The first thing we think about is the quality of the video that we get from a drone. But we don't really think about the JPEGs or the stills that we get from it. And this drone kicks butt with still pictures. It's something you don't realize it until you get up there and you start taking some still pictures. And and I'll tell you what, and Ron will probably attest to it, being that I'll call him, for lack of a better term, a semi-professional photographer. It takes a lot of patience to capture a great shot. All of us would agree with that, and especially, if you're going after a sunset, your timing has to be right. You have to be at the right angle to catch the sun and reflections and everything. And fortunately, I've been right. And also fortunately too, I think DJI has compensated quite a bit in some of these terms, and especially, but one of the best sunsets I ever captured was with the Mavic Mini. And that was last December. And, it was just, the sky was like this red, orange, pink hue bluish hue back there, and the Mini just exploded when I came back. And it was one of those ones where one of the other things that I really like, besides taking pictures with it, is its ease of being able to get that thing up in the air. You know, even with the Mini, even with my Mavic 2 Pro and the smart controller, okay, I've been able to get my Mini up faster. Okay, it's just for me, it's just like woo woo woo. You know, my wife says, you know, you may want to go out there and catch this. You know, and I just come home from work. I dropped my bag. I grabbed the Mini. I grabbed the controller. Got my phone. I was out the door, and I was up and going in like 3 or 4 minutes. Because, you know, again, timing was everything with this. And I got up, and that was one of these sunsets that you die for, because, you know, it's just the way the sun was reflecting and the colors and everything. It was just fantastic. And I think for me, one of the things that I absolutely love about it is its portability. Because I was able to, I didn't have the GPC case at the time, but when we went up to Ohio in November, I used the case that came with the Flymore kit, and I put it in my overnight bag. And gosh darn it, it was so easy to take on a trip. I mean, it fit in my overnight bag. It was fantastic. And what a great experience it was. You know, I got the drone up, and I got a selfie with my granddaughter in it, and all of us. I mean, that was just absolutely fantastic. So, you know, those are kind of my thoughts about this. And I want to pose another question to everybody in the group, and you know, we'll start out again with Marcus here, is what one feature would you like to have seen added to the Mavic Mini that's not present there, whether it's software or hardware?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to stay away from hardware, and I'll tell you why. Because they could not add any hardware to it because of that 249 gram weight restriction. So, you know, you're tempted to say obstacle avoidance, but obviously that's hardware, and you know, they struggled to get the weight as light as they did. So that puts us into the software realm. And you know, it would be handy if it had a tracking function on it. I think particularly for the audience that drone. Well, I hear you, Lauren. I understand your perspective completely. But what I'm saying is, if I'm thinking about the customer base that drone is aimed at, you know, it's somebody that's out there on their bicycle or something like that, and they may want the drone to track them a little bit. And you would think that would be something that perhaps they could do with software. Although I keep thinking that maybe the drone does not have enough processing power to do that. I don't know. So anyway, that's my 2 bits. Ron?
I wanted to say something about before I get to that feature, that you know, about the Mini's such a good, you know, drone, that if the only 2 drones I own were the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mini, that would kind of complete. I would probably have everything I really needed just owning those 2 drones. They cover everything that kind of I want to do. So that would be like the perfect tandem. Plus, if you went on a trip, like, you know, a once in a lifetime trip to Hawaii or someplace like that, you could actually fit both those drones in your bag and take them both with you. So you had a backup drone, which is kind of a nice thing. You can't say about a whole lot of drones. But back to your question, Bill, and Marcus, what you said you wanted better intelligent flight features as far as tracking. Yeah. And I'm going to say, well, what you can't pick your weight balance on the Mini. Is that correct, Marcus?
Oh, that's a good one, Ron. Yeah.
That's kind of given. I'm going to say the white balance feature, and maybe on the photos, maybe, you know, let us do a DNG photo or whatever, rather than just a JPEG or whatever. I think those 2 are reasonable, that they're not either one's going to be that intensive processing that, you know, it's going to blow the little Mini's processor up. So that's my 1.5 update. We're going to throw it back to Marcus before we throw it to Lauren.
No, well, I'm just saying, I take back my suggestion. I'm going with Ron's.
He's voting my way now. It's like we're back to politics. I've got, you know,
Marcus, you're too easy. Marcus, you're too easy. Be a man, stand up for yourself.
but we're going to throw it over to our candidate from Canada, Lauren, here, and see what platform he's going to go with tonight.
Well, actually, I'm going to look at the dark side. If Bill wants to share my screen for me again.
Yes, I can.
Anyway, Hyle and I were talking last night, and just out of pure coincidence, Josh Spires, who also writes for Drone DJ, actually put up an article the following morning, and we're starting to see a little bit more of this, and where the front blades are actually hitting the body.
Oh no!
And highest question to me was, is this something that's happening on a regular basis? And as far as I've been able to tell from my sources, it's usually only happening with very aggressive flying, and it's not something that most people will come across, but it is still an issue. Is this something that DJI can fix? No. And that is because it's a physical design. However, they may be able to fix that with something along the lines of a little bit stiffer propeller. Every case that I've done a review on, it has been either in sport mode or just flat out very, very aggressive flying in regular GPS mode. That being said, that's probably the biggest downside that I have seen so far. And I honestly, I love the drone for what it is. For you guys, the 250 doesn't mean much. In other countries, such as Canada, there's no need to license the drone. There's no need to have a license to fly the drone. It gets around all of our aviation regulations, with the exception of one, which basically means don't fly like an idiot.
That's a heck of a regulation.
Well, that left me out.
It basically you don't fly to endanger aircraft or people. Which, that's pretty much, like I say, don't fly like an idiot. But that's been one of the huge selling points for us up here. Your guys' regulation is a little bit different in the fact that your under 250s still have to follow all the regulations. You just don't have to register, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
But here, they don't have to register them. You don't have to have a license. It falls into what we call our toy class. So that's why we keep selling them just like hotcakes. But,
and I can see why. And it's like I said, at Best Buy, you can't walk in and pick one up off the shelf. I mean, I find that pretty amazing. Even now it's how many months since past November, and it's still like that here, which I think is great. And I really got to echo what Ron and Marcus said about the white balance issue, and that would probably be my second thing. Okay, one of the things I would like to see, and believe it or not, it's not a hardware thing, but I would really like to have seen hyperlapse. Okay, being able, like when Ron and I were at North Reddington Beach, and the hyperlapse that I got from there was just phenomenal. And I was able to, I was going super slow because it was in hyperlapse, and I made sure of that. And just what I got from that was just phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a better sunset with a hyperlapse than what I got when we were at Reddington Beach. It was just so good. And again, the portability factor with this too. It's like, you can go out to dinner, and next thing you know, hey, let's go to the beach and fly. It's like zip, 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 boom, and you're up. I mean, it's like when you have the Mavic 2, it's a little more, I won't use the word obvious, but it takes some more maneuvering around to do that. So I mean, they're just that's a huge plus for me. Again, for me, that portability factor with the Mini is just off the charts.
Hey, Bill, guess what? Under $500 drone has hyperlapse.
What under five? Let me guess. The Anafi,
the Zino 2.
The Zino 2.
Has hyperlapse at a low price point. So when you get that Zino 2, you can practice up on your beach hyperlapses on a budget.
I sure will. I mean, unfortunately, we hear and I haven't substantiated the beaches are closed. You're not allowed to go to the beach. So
Well, what if you flew to the beach from a park or a parking lot?
Well, you know, if I were a bad boy and to break the FAA rules, I could actually. It's about 5 miles to a beach, is towards the west. I mean, if I was a bad boy and decided to do a long range test of the Mavic 2, but I'm not a bad boy, so I don't do those.
Well, if you have good eyes, it could be line of sight. If you had like Kent Clark Superman type vision.
That's true. That's very true. Well, you know, I'm not even going to go there as far as that's concerned. Guys, we've had I really like this talk about the Mavic Mini because, you know, and I'll say this, you know, one of the other things that I know why it's so popular is, you know, and I know Marcus and Ron are admins in my Mavic Mini group. You know, we get 30, 35 people sometimes a day join that mini group. I mean, it's just off the charts, the number of people that join that group every day. You know, and the other group that's like that too is the Mavic 2 group. But the mini group, I mean, it just seems really, it's just been a constant influx of people, and people really have been very good in sharing ideas and good things in there. And I really like to see that. So, you know, I thought this was a great discussion to have. You know, it's still a fantastic drone. It's something I think all four of us would highly recommend. You know, without batting an eyelash. You know, it's and as far as, you know, and the other thing that I wanted to touch on before we kind of wrap things up is I really like the app. Okay, the app was you know, when you look at the DJI Go 4 app, okay, it's a good app, but as we've discussed before, you know, you have to go down some menus to get some things. And, you know, especially for a flyer, a first-time drone owner, it's like, oh, where's the compass calibration? Oh, where's the gimbal calibration? Oh, how do I set white balance? You know, all these questions. It's super easy on the DJI Fly app. I mean, everything is right there. I really like when you're doing an auto takeoff or an auto, you know, or return to home. You have to hold that button and make sure that in it, you know, that circle completes for you to do that. And you know, it's just, I think it's a very clean interface. It's easy to read. It's easy to understand. And I know Marcus knows about this too. You know, the only beef that I have with that is the colors of the letters on there, because sometimes they are super hard to see if you have a bright day out there or against the clouds. So, question of the day. Why do you think the DJI Mavic Mini has been a very popular drone? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.
Stumbling out of bed, and I still got you in my head. From all those pretty words you said, it's like I'm wasted. Every time I see your face, I'm losing track of time and space. I don't know where I am, it's like I'm wasted.